What's up, everyone? This is Sunnyvale, and welcome to another draft video for EternalTitans.com. For all your best strategy content with regards to Eternal, check out EternalTitans.com. And it's been a while since I've done one of these with the preparation for the ECQ and everything, but here we go. They've also made some pretty big changes to some cards. I'll point them out if I see them since the last time I drafted. And I think it all results in Shadow being a lot stronger, but yeah, we'll see if any of those things matter in this draft. Okay, so in this pack, I am very interested in Notorious Scoundrel. I mean, it's a 2-1 for 1, which doesn't do a whole ton, but if you get the Renown on it, it's a gigantic drawback in that the Wanted poster is like, you can die. Your opponent can get ahead if they can kill the Notorious Scoundrel, but if they can't, they take a ridiculous amount of damage. So that's a pretty strong card. There's also Infused Guardian, which is just solid, good stats, gets better in the late game, also has Pledge, that's a plus. Barrel Through, which is pretty good in the Renown strategies, and Flickerling, which I think is just a pretty solid card. I guess Flickerling and Coastal Recruit are just kind of like positive fillers in a lot of different decks, so that's a plus. I'm going to go ahead and take the Notorious Scoundrel. It's just really the upside on it is gigantic, and also you don't have to play. Yeah, you don't have to activate the Renown. It can just trade for a 2-drop a lot of the time if that's all you want. Anyway, but yeah, this can end the game in a hurry. Okay, so speaking of ending the game in a hurry, we have Mighty Strikes, but the nerfed version. This used to cost 2 instead of 3, and I was saying that it was way too good. In the original incarnation of the card, I think that this card was too strong for sure. They also have Lazy Firemane, which is a 3-2 now instead of a 3-3. Doesn't change a whole ton in the card. It's still reasonable filler, although I suppose a little worse now. But I'm interested in Barrel Through, one, because it helps out with the whole Renown strategy. I don't want to take Lazy Firemane after taking Notorious Scoundrel. This card just doesn't have very much upside, especially with Mighty Strikes in the pack as well as Barrel Through. I think that before I would have said that Mighty Strikes is definitely a lot better than Barrel Through, but now I'm not so sure. So I think that I'm just going to take this Barrel Through and just hopefully be in some sort of Rakano deck that has units and pump spells. Okay, well, this pack is really interesting. I think it's a pretty clear display of ambition here. If you can play all the, if you can access all 3 factions for this card, it has a lot of flexibility, and it's good in lots of situations. If your opponent has something gigantic, you kill it. If you're even on board, you get to rebuy 2 units. If you're ahead and you're just pressing for the win, you get to give your units +1 attack and overwhelm. It's just fantastic. That being said, Weaponsmith is very good, and so is Barrel Through. Man, it's close.
Snack
The
time,
upside
Minerva.
on this, oops. Looks like my stream alerts are still on. The upside on this is so ridiculous, but given that I don't know my 3rd faction, and if I do play a Renown deck, I'm actually going to want to play Primal instead of Shadow as my 3rd faction. I'm going to take the Weaponsmith, as tempting as this is. Just every weapon just becomes even better with this. Speaking of which, there's a Bearer Arms, but I think we take the Forge Master here. It's fantastic at enabling. It's both a payoff and an enabler for the Renown deck, and I think that's pretty good. It's fantastic with the Weaponsmith, great with the Scoundrel. Just a lot of stuff to like about it. And Bearer Arms is very good too, but the curated packs have plenty of weapons that can be enablers for Renown, so we'll take the Forge Master. Alright, well, there's no removal in this format, so Unmoored Valkyrie has basically no downside. If I can be in a Rakano aggro deck that just has weapons and units, I'm pretty happy about that. Speak of the devil, or I guess not the devil, but the archetype, Axe Sharpener, is good. I'm not beyond taking a Surveiller. I think that this card is actually pretty reasonable, though I think it's not quite as good as Court Mage, which is the 2/5 version of the same card. But it's certainly more playable than you might initially think. Anything with Pledge is. Also, this card got buffed. Empower units get +1 attack per turn. This turn, that's the same, but it got easier to play. It's 4 Shadow instead of double Shadow this now, and it also is a 2/4 instead of a 2/3 now, so it can block well. So I think this card is very good now, getting buffed in multiple ways. Let's take the Sharpener. There's a Diplomat. There's a Spitfire, not interested in either of those. I'll take the Crystal Dirk just in case we really need weapons, although... Excuse me. I feel like both the Crystal Dirk and the Diplomat are kind of like last-ditch efforts, as far as when I would play them. But I'm thinking that Crystal Dirk will have a little more of an upside. Svedja's Bravery. Well. This seems pretty good. That can trigger Renown in a pinch, but also it just protects units that you put weapons on, which is... It looks like the strategy that we're going to be doing. So I'll go ahead and take this. I think that Token of Instinct is also fine as far as fixing goes. There's a Bear Arms. Very happy to see that. That's a good weapon. It's the reason why I don't take it in pack 1 when I'm drafting the Renown strategy very often is because there are other good weapons you can get, like Welding Torch, Changey Stick, Peacekeeper's Helm, all of which are in the curated packs and are common. So I don't pick it very highly, knowing that getting weapons isn't too difficult, but Bear Arms is very good. Okay, I don't think I'll be playing Consuming Greed. I think Spitfire is really bad. I'm just going to take Improvised Club. I don't think that we're going to play that either. Bad Renown Enabler or an Evisor. It's a flyer with Aegis. It can be difficult, but like I think it's generally just a lot worse than Unmoored Valkyrie. Alright, I'll take the Oathkeeper's Hammer. One thing to note is that we didn't get any Beastmasters, and that's a very good card that we would have been happy to see. Okay, so this is an interesting pick. We got Rilgan's Disciple or Rusty Grenade Motive. I think Rusty Grenade Motive being a 2/4 makes it very good. However, is it better than Rilgan's Disciple? Rilgan's Disciple is basically a 2-drop with gigantic upside. I mean, you know, you just play it, attack, your opponent doesn't block, and then you play 2 pump spells and you win. At least some of the time. There's also Bright Moon's Paladin, which is solid citizen. I don't know. I feel like Disciple's probably better. Like, it just has more random upside than these two, even though I think these 2 cards are very good. So I'll just take that. Also, Shiftstone, but that's not really my consideration when I'm playing. Okay, wow. This pack is crazy good. We've got Emerald Ring, which turns on all of our Renown forever, although it is kind of slow. We've got Ruination Sledge, which I think is the pick here. It's a top-grade weapon. There's just a lot of attachments running around with other Renown decks and just Relics Matters decks and whatnot. So I really like using the rune is useful, and on top of that, it's a very strong weapon. And there's also Renegade Valkyrie, which is a nice payoff. It's like one of the few remaining good payoff cards in the curated packs for the Renown synergies. It doesn't actually have Renown itself, but it works very well with the same things that work well with Renown, such as Braille Through. But I want to take this Sledge. I think this card is very, very good. And has a lot of flexibility in how you want to use it. Okay, this is an interesting pick. There's Annihilate, which is still very good, although arguably worse than it was in set 4, where I think it was the best removal spell you could get. But yeah, it is still very good. We don't have anything that is pulling us toward either Shadow or Primal too hard, and that would be the decision of whether I would take Annihilate or leave it alone if we were in Primal as our third faction. There's also Wildfire Centauri, which is fine, but I don't think it's that great. I think that the units are good enough that Wildfire Centauri isn't quite as attractive, whereas the removal is just not there. So I'm going to take the Annihilate. There's a fair chance that we don't end up playing it, but if we are able to splash Shadow one way or another, Annihilate becomes a very good removal spell. I think this is a pretty easy Onin Ronin. It's still great. People don't play removal. There's also a Skycrag banner for fixing, but I wouldn't mind being in a 2-faction deck here. Ellen's Choice is pretty good, but I think I just want the unit in Copperhall Porter. I don't know. This being removal is pretty good. Yeah, I think I'll take this over a random Copperhall Porter. We have the luxury of not being desperate for 2s. We already have 4 that we're interested in playing, plus 2 1-drops. And Copperhall Porter doesn't do a ton, like in a really synergy-based format, I feel like this doesn't amount to much, whereas the format is really light on removal, so that makes Ellen's Choice pretty nice. Okay, we got Rally, Steadfast Deputy, none of these cards really matter. Cloud Snake Hatchling wearing a bunch of weapons can actually kill people pretty quickly. I'm just going to take the weapon, because it's a weapon, even if it's a really bad one. Okay, here we have fixing. Need to decide whether I want to try to fix for the Annihilate or try to fix for things like Ellen's Choice. If we get Beastmaster, we're going to want to play it, so I think I'm just going to take the Skycrag banner. Sorry, Annihilate. Maybe another time. And there's the Skycrag Stranger to go along with our fixing. Dragon Breath is actually really good in the Renown decks. We don't have insane payoffs. I wonder if Notorious Scoundrel hits for 6. I would imagine it does if you use Dragon Breath hit. There's also Skycrag Stranger if we just want the fixing. Yeah, I think our payoffs are not the ones that are Dragon Breath is really good. Our payoffs are more just like smashing. Alright, so I'll take the Stranger here. Alright, Flash Freeze isn't reasonable. I don't think I want any of the rest of these cards. Ooh, Arcanist. Arcanist is a reasonable flyer and also leaves behind a Gemblade, which is pretty nice. Skycrew isn't bad either, and Jump Kick is playable, so we are kind of getting hooked up here. Okay, so we have more options for fixing. We've got a Genev Merchant, which is a 2/2 Aegis now, so I think that's a lot less exciting than it used to be, being a 3/2 Aegis. 3 cost for a 2/2 is not a great stat line, and then I don't imagine that we'll have a ton of flexibility with our market. There's Magma Javelin, which is fine. It works with the Weaponsmith, kind of. It's kind of removal. And it's either that or Copper Hall Porter, but again, I'm not too desperate for 2 drops, and like maybe you can pick up another Forge Master or something in future packs. So I'm just going to take Javelin as being a like medium removal spell. Just because removal is so difficult to come by. Okay, so we have a couple Shadow cards. These are not very good, though. We've got Dragon Breath. I think that's the best pick. Triggers Renown. Access Removal, although admittedly is not a great card on its own. That, or we could take Argenport Stranger to try to fix the Annihilate, but I'm not terribly interested in that. Comrade Magister is fine, but I think it's outclassed by the units in the new set. The new units are very good. The expensive units are very good, and that's why cards like Wildfire Sensari and Combrei Magister, which have been good 5-drops in the past, kind of fall off a little. Okay, Finest Tower, I think I'm interested in that. That card's very good, especially in Renown. Let's go ahead and take it. District Infantry is a good 1-drop as well, but Finest Tower is just very strong. Okay, I'm down for Resolute Paladin. This is not as good as... because there aren't as many spells as there used to be, but it still hits hard, it still threatens a lot, and I don't want any of the rest of these cards. Ancient Defenses. Okay, so that triggers Relics Matters. The playing a Sentinel isn't going to matter most of the time. There's fixings in Skycrag Banner. It's either Skycrag Banner and Ancient Defenses just for the 4-cost deal 3. Now that's like the worst torch you've ever seen for sure, because it's slow and it costs 4. But that is actually useful in this format. I think I'm just going to take the banner though. Good fixing is basically free. Alright, I'll take the assembly line. I don't think I'm going to end up playing it, but in case I pick up anything that wants to go wide, it can be useful. Okay, Skycrew or Grenarender. I think I like Grenarender. Has random upside against the Relics Matters decks. Okay, Stoneshaker. I'm kind of getting cut here. Does look like time is reasonably open. I do not want to play Wisdom of the Elders deck. Yeah. I don't know. None of these cards are that great. The banner last pick is pretty nice. Okay, well, let's see what we've got here. We've got Fall Short, which is an okay removal spell, but it's not great. It can't deal with a lot of things. We've got Coastal Recruit, which is a fine unit. Honestly, I think we're shortest on units. So if we take a look at the units we have, we've got the Ronin, the Unmoored Valkyrie. We picked up a lot in pack 1, but after that we didn't pick up a ton. Axe Sharpener, Grenarender, Scoundrel, Forge Master, Disciple, Stranger will probably play, and then Weaponsmith and Resolute Paladin. That's basically it. Oh, I guess we have the Arcanist also. Skycrew we can play in a pinch. So we might not be that low on units, but it's we don't have a ton of them. Sauropod would be nice, but I think that our chances of playing it are pretty low. Oh wait, there's an Albatross. This card's really good. If you play it for 3, it's a 2/2 flyer. If you play it for 6, you get to draw a card. It's just fantastic. There's also Mischief Yeti, but I don't think we're that deep. You need to be able to play this on turn 1 for it to be good. I was really high on this card at the beginning of the format, but I'm a lot lower on it now. Alright, I'll take the Albatross. I think that's better than the Recruit here. Not entirely sure. It could be just a little greedy, but we'll see. Alright, this is an interesting pick. We've got Chunk Chunk, which is a double pledge unit that stuns an enemy unit and has a Renown ability. And it's a 4/3. But we also have Beastmaster, and I think it's really hard to say no to Beastmaster here, because this card is just very solid. 5/5, like, excellent stats. 5/5 for 5 Overwhelm, and then also having some upside if you get to Renown it. Okay. So Shiny Finder, this card is not that great. It's okay, but it does have 2 factions to pledge, which is really nice. There's also a Weaponsmith, and I think I'm just interested in taking the Weaponsmith. I think that if we can pick up a few more weapons, and we do not have very many weapons yet, but if we can pick some up, having access to 2 Weaponsmiths is pretty nice. Also making Mithril Mace a 4/5 weapon seems like a pretty big deal. So let's go ahead and take that. Okay, this pack's pretty bad. I used to be kind of high on Oni Samurai, but I'm pretty low on it now. I think I'll just take the Surveiller here. It's a pledge unit. Stats are okay. Trades up sometimes if you're defending, I guess. I don't know. It's not a great blocker. Generally, I think that 2/5 is a better stat line than 5/2. But we're not taking anything else here. I don't want a 2/2 that can't attack ever. And yeah, 1/2 just doesn't seem to be very good in this format. Okay, they nerfed this card. This used to be a 3/4. I think I'm just gonna... Ooh, there's a Makeshift Barrier. This card is very good. But with the Weaponsmiths, I'm gonna take the Grandfather's Axe, because the Grandfather's Axe, if you play it and he gets the bonus, it keeps the bonus for when it goes back into your hand. So, like, if you have a Weaponsmith and then a Grandfather's Axe, you play Grandfather's Axe, becomes a 2/2, the unit dies, you get the Grandfather's Axe back, you play it again, it becomes a 3/3 weapon. Then you get to really go off. Sad to pass up a Makeshift Barrier for it, but I think it's going to be really good in this deck. So, that's I'm gonna go ahead and take that. Fall Short, Diplomat, Frost Talisman. Not huge on Frost Talisman. It's okay. It's definitely got a good late game, but you kind of have to go down a card in order to use it, so sometimes you don't get to that late game. I think I'm just going to take Fall Short here, though I'm not 100% sure I'll play it. We'll probably end up playing it. Okay, no cards that we can play here. I'll just take the Premium Mob Rule. I'll take the Broken Ring Brawler. It does have Pledge, so that's an upside. Actually, it has 7-win draft with Rumbling Contraption in it. I can't imagine that this is actually a good card, but it seemed to work for that deck somehow. Ooh, a Shiny Finder? Sure. Double Pledge? Probably better than Fireheart Recruit. I'm a big fan of Fireheart Recruit, but this also has added flexibility in that you can pledge for Primal on turn 1, and also you can pick off some stuff if you get to play it for even more than that. Ooh, Premium Token. Well, we're not playing either of those two. Double Primal seems pretty difficult. Ooh, Softwood Burglar? That could actually be reasonable, I think. Maybe. And that urn is not completely unplayable. Okay. So let's get our... I would like to just be an aggressive deck if possible. I don't think that we're going to be playing Assembly Line. It seems a bit bold for me. I do think we're playing Svetja's Bravery. You can get Aegis off of it without too much trouble. Probably going to end up playing that Broken Wing Brawler. Definitely the Arcanist, Albatross, Dragon Breath. Flash Freeze? Question mark? It doesn't target our own units, so it loses some stock because of that. We've got the Ellen's Choice and Skycrack Stranger, and that's 24 cards. So this already has a pretty good curve and a good number of units. So that's promising. We'll play this token just as, you know, options as far as power. I don't think we're going to be able to splash the Annihilate. We could play Flash Freeze. I think Jerk, Flash Freeze, Jump Kick are all reasonable additions to this deck. I think I should play the Mace because I've got the 2 Orc Weaponsmiths. That seems pretty good. I could also play the Broken Ring Brawler. I should probably play Fall Short. That's very good against some cards. Like, all the Empower units tend to be very bad against tend to die against Fall Short. I don't think I'm desperate enough for Softfoot Burglar. And this is going to look like... It looks like it's probably an 18 power deck. We have one pledge card. Yeah, I think we just have the 1 pledge card. That's fine. Could play Broken Wing Brawler. But It doesn't really do anything. It's a 3-3. Being a 3-3 versus a 3-4 is a big deal because I feel like the base stat line in this format is at 3-3. So if you're a 3-3, you trade, but if you're a 3-4, you trump all the 3-3s, and I think there are a lot in this format. Yeah, we could play Earn if we think that we're that aggressive. We are somewhat aggressive, but I don't really want to go... I'm not banking on that so much that I'm willing to go down a card. We could play Sky Crew. I think that's a reasonable choice, or we could play, like, just Jump Kick. Eating a flyer randomly would be pretty nice. It is a nice little trick. I already got the Mason there, right? You know, just given that, I don't know, just given that our deck kind of does stuff and seems like a generally solid deck, Sky Crew having the, you know, high ceiling, high floor, or sorry, reasonable ceiling but high floor, just being a 4-cost 2-4 seems like it will be useful here. Alright, and that's the deck. We do have a fair number of fixing options. We've got the banners, we've got this token that we can even play. We'll see what does the deck want as far as power goes. 3, 5, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fire sources for 10 cards. Seems reasonable. 8, 9, 10. 10 justice sources. I might want one more if I can. 3, 4, 5, 6 primal sources. No, actually that seems pretty good. 10, 8, and 6. It seems to be about where I want to be. Okay, well, here's the deck. It seems pretty solid. It's not insane, but it does seems like it's good. It has some synergies, and I'm generally pretty excited to play with this deck. So if we can get up to, like, my guess would be somewhere between like 5 and 7 wins. All right, well, I'll be back with games in a minute, and I'll see you guys soon.